Paul Anderson, 2013 Distinguished Achievement in Industry Diamond Award winner.
Paul has had a career where it's really been cumulative. One thing has not only led to another, but in each experience he's built on it.
A bit of a Renaissance person. He's got a lot of interests. I think energy just happened to be what he ended up in.
Paul's career began at the Boeing Company, where he worked to put himself through the UW.
And from here, he went right to Stanford Business School. And from Stanford, he went to Ford Motor Company, worked in corporate planning and strategy there.
And he got a phone call from a company based in Texas called Texas Eastern Transmission. Was not in the auto business, but in the gas transmission pipeline business. No matter, he joined the company, and as they say, the rest is history. Ultimately creating Pan Energy, ultimately forming that into Duke Energy, and then coming full cycle and splitting Duke Energy and creating Spectrum Energy. A pretty amazing career, and all of it started by having the false impression of what Texas Eastern Transmission really was.
In the mid-1990s, there was a lot of thought about the convergence between power and natural gas. Paul orchestrated the merger of Pan Energy and Duke Energy into what at that time was the largest combined energy company in the world.
The fact that we were merging some highly regulated, very rigid operations with some unregulated, unproven operations. And Paul came up with a metaphor, and the metaphor was you're going from running a railroad to having to sail out on the open ocean, and you have to develop a discipline and a thought process to guide that path.
And it was transforming for the industry, merging two of the largest energy companies in the country together to make electricity and natural gas work more in unison together. So it shook the industry in a very positive way.
Paul trusted people, and in turn they trusted him.
People think of him as having unquestioned integrity, but also is very driven towards performance for the shareholder and for employees, and to make that enterprise something special.
He has a relentless belief in accountability. One of his favorite statements has always been, nobody cares about the reasons other than your mother. Everybody else cares about the results.
He is viewed as a fixer. If you want a company fixed, Paul is the man.
Paul's success as a fixer brought him international attention.
He was recruited out of Duke Energy to become the CEO of BHP, which was at that time a very troubled natural resources extraction company, largest employer in Australia.
When Paul came to BHP, he needed an external circuit breaker to endeavour to bring the value of the company back up. It was like a Pied Piper. When Paul came to BHP, he did something unique. He wrote out to all of the employees, remembering that BHP had a global footprint. It was represented in 33 different countries, 33 probably different languages, and 33 interpretation of what the CEO said. So he had quite a task, but he wrote out to them and asked them for their guidance as to how he'd fix the company. The response was overwhelming, and he then went and did a video and sent it out to the employees so they could understand the outcomes that he was seeking. That mark of respect to the employees really made a difference.
He understands that for people to follow, they need a story. People need to be able to hold on to something that says, yep, this is what we're trying to do.
You will ask Paul a question, and he will rarely answer the question that you asked, just that. He will actually think on a couple of different planes. He will answer the question you should have asked. That's a unique capability. He leads by questioning, and that's a very, very, very powerful management technique where you don't embarrass people who are working for you or put them on the spot publicly, but they get exactly where you're headed when you ask the question.
But probably his biggest professional accomplishment is his ability to make leaders out of people.
Paul was able to lift people's spirits, and they followed him with great success.
You didn't have to be like Paul to be promoted under Paul. But you had to be a person of integrity, you had to be good with people, and you had to be technically competent. If you could do those things, Paul had tremendous tolerance for differences.
As successful as he has been, he's never lost his empathy for the average guy or the average kid. And that makes him a very powerful mentor.